Hey guys, what's going on? It's Greg Jones for Engine Builder. Welcome to another Shop Takeover. Today I'm in Crawfordville, Florida, which is just south of Tallahassee. And we're gonna be checking out Kevin's Machine and Engineering. I'm talking with shop owner Kevin Roberts, as well as shop manager Cory Damon. These guys do a little bit of everything. They specialize in performance work, whether it's import or domestic. They even do some diesel stuff, so they got a lot of cool things going on. They also own this Ace Hardware and Napa Auto Parts store, and the machine shop's out in the back. So let's go on, check it out. Let's go.
No shortcuts, no substitutes, no compromises. Great racers and engine builders choose Driven Racing Oil.
All right guys, so here we are inside Kevin's Machine and Engineering, and I'm joined by shop owner Kevin Roberts. Kevin, pleasure to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
You know, we chatted on the phone a little here, mentioned that we're gonna be in town, so I appreciate you letting us come in. I know you guys didn't get a huge chance to spruce the place up a ton, but hey, you guys are doing a lot of work, and we're gonna be showcasing what you guys are doing around here to all the folks watching. So,
well, thank you.
You know, before we get into the shop tour, I just wanted to get to know you a little bit better. Can you tell us a little bit about your background in terms of how you got into engine building and how you started the shop?
My background's a lot like a lot of the engine builders. We started in high school and we took vocational classes. I'm a little fortunate than others. I grew up in the retail auto parts business. Started right after I graduated high school. I got a brake lathe and flywheel surfacing, and I started doing drive lines, and it just kind of evolved from there, and it just kept going, and I kept buying more and more equipment, and learned and learned and learned, and I'm still learning, so that's always great. Yeah.
And then you were telling me about 1987 is when you started the shop here?
That's when I graduated high school. Okay. And went to work for the family business, which we were a retail store. Mm-hmm. My interest was engines and that. I participated in the VICA program at high school level, and like a lot of the engine builders around the country. Mm-hmm. And just kept growing, and growing and growing, and upgrading our equipment, and then upgrading our capabilities due to customer requests. So now I'm sitting on a lot of equipment. Yeah, as everybody can kind of tell. And of course, we have a lot of work going on. So that a lot of good shops around the country, which my hats are off to them too. I know what they're dealing with. Yeah. Now, again, as we'll get in with Cory, who's your shop manager here in a moment, he's going to be walking us around, but you guys do everything from, you know, domestic V8 stuff as well as some of the import stuff, a little bit of diesel work. We do diesel work. We do just about whatever walking in the door, honestly. And do you have a favorite thing to work on? Or my performance is always the typical, the big threes, the Chrysler, the Ford, the GMs. Always striving to make power, that's what we typically do. Although I do have some employees that do like the import, so I let them do their thing too. Yeah. And which it's a combustion engine, so it's relative to all of us. The European stuff is not as easy to work on because of the part supplies, obviously. Sure. But performance is our thing, and that's what I've strived to go forward. Yeah, very good. Well, Kevin, we appreciate you having us come in the shop. Thank you for coming by. Yeah, and we're going to be talking to Cory here and seeing the shop, so appreciate it. Well, thanks, everybody. Yeah.
Driven Racing Oil's GP1 Nitro 70. Trusted by top engine builders, winning racers, and devoted horsepower enthusiasts across the world. Driven takes legendary base oils such as the ones from Brantford, Pennsylvania, which comprise our GP1 line. Then, we boost that superior base oil with state-of-the-art additive packages. Driven's GP1 Nitro 70 not only provides anti-wear protection, but can shield cylinders from washout and fuel dilution caused by methanol or nitro-based fuels. Learn more about Driven Racing Oil by following us on Facebook or Instagram at Driven Racing Oil, or shop now at drivenracingoil.com.
All right, guys, so we are here with shop manager Cory Damon. Cory, pleasure to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, you're going to be our tour guide today.
I'm going to do the best I can.
We're excited to see what you guys have going on here. I know you guys do a little bit of everything, and you do some high quality performance work, so I'm excited to check out what you guys have going on.
No, we appreciate it.
Before we walk around, you want to give us a little bit of history about yourself and your background and how you got to Kevin's machine?
Sure. So I actually started out in Pennsylvania with another company. We did mainly methanol sprint car engines, so endurance engines.
Okay.
Developed a love for it when I was young, like a lot of guys, and just decided to make it something as a career path instead of a hobby.
Yeah.
So as I was kind of growing with a different company, there were better opportunities down here in the Florida area. So me and my family moved down here, and now I'm here at Kevin's Machine Shop, and we are starting to grow and bring in different customer bases from all over, from hours away. Engines coming from California, so yeah, we're off to a good start in my opinion. Yeah.
Awesome. Very good. And how long have you been here now?
So I've been here a year and a half.
Okay.
Yep. So it's been a good year and a half.
Yeah. And obviously people can kind of see behind us how big the shop is. You guys have a good amount of space, and then even beyond this wall, there's a whole another thing happening there that we'll show in a second. But how many square feet do you guys have? How many employees?
So employees, we have 5 in total. Square footage, I'm not exactly sure of the square footage of the building.
Okay.
I know that every inch of it is filled with machinery, which is going to be part of the expansion process in the back that we're doing right now.
Very good.
Yes.
And then, like I said, you guys do a little bit of everything, but you want to run down just some of the platforms and applications you guys will build engines for?
So a lot of what Kevin's machine started out with was mud bogging engines. So they're going to be a lot of big block Fords, big block Chevys, a lot of naturally aspirated stuff. We do some boosted applications. So basically old school V8, a lot of carbureted stuff.
Yeah.
But we're starting to get a lot more into the import market. So Toyotas, Subarus, Audi VW, you name it. So basically, if it's got wheels and we can make it faster, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So whether it be methanol that it runs on, or race gas, or just pump 93 for a nice ride to go out, Sunday get ice cream.
Yeah.
We do it all here.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Well, Cory, with that, I'll let you lead the way here. I'll follow behind.
Gotcha.
All right.
So what kind of looks a little bit like a catastrophe, so mainly our drop-off area. So people come in here, normally I'll talk to them, find out kind of what their goals are, what they're starting with. Some guys have no idea what they have, so we kind of do the introductory here. Some of these are drop-offs, some of these are unfortunate blocks that cannot be used for future builds.
Yeah.
So basically we have our discussion here, we'll sit down and go over some general pricing, see what they want to get into. Money-wise, obviously, it's going to be a big thing for them.
Yeah.
And then some of the finished projects we'll actually go over here as they're done. What's here now is just either on hold or for future projects, or we have a lot of spare parts also in this area for stuff that may or may not come up later. Like up there, we have a 429 Boss.
Oh yeah.
Very valuable engine that we do plan on building.
Yeah.
And then we have the makings for another supercharged over 600 cubic inch big block Chevy sitting up there.
Yeah.
So those will be up and coming projects. Actually, we're going to do more of as a shop project, just to kind of put ourselves out there and advertise a little bit of, hey, here's what we can do.
Yeah. That's pretty neat.
We can break records and put down some numbers. So it's just a matter of getting the stuff done, but we take care of the customers first.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool.
So, and then so after everything comes in, depending on what the deal is, right now we're mainly in the cylinder head area.
Okay.
So between grinding our valves or doing a valve job or pressure checking with this machine here, we can do pretty much everything we need to do with the cylinder heads besides milling, which we'll see here in a second.
Yeah.
Right on the other side of the partition is where we do all the balancing of our crankshafts. Some crankshafts have a different tolerances they can handle, but we try to 0.0 crankshafts are going to see anything above 9,000 RPMs. So we already have some bob weight set up for a previous build, so we also do engines for SCCA racing. We have a gentleman right now that is the national champ for SCCA, so he brings his work here. We basically do all of his block prep and balancing. He builds at home. And then we have more of a production style thing here for another company local to us.
Yeah.
So they bring their stuff in, we go through, we mic everything out, we polish it, balance it, make sure it's good for their customer, because if their customer's not happy, we're not happy.
Sure.
So,
Kevin, before we move on, I think people might be seeing some of the Ace Hardware carts, and if you want to just explain a little bit about that, you know, shop owner Kevin Roberts also owns the Ace Hardware that's out in front of the shop here.
Yep, the Ace Hardware, Napa, and Kevin's Machine Shop are basically all under one umbrella.
Yeah.
They all have their own separate things that they do, but we all work together as well. So whether it be hardware that we need for an engine or parts that we need that are more common, we have that available to us.
I just think it's a neat use of the carts as like a build cart for the shop. You know?
Exactly. I mean, any one of these carts sitting around here could have, you know, upwards of $10,000 worth of parts sitting in it.
Yeah.
But again, that's going to be part of the addition, so we can kind of spread things out a little bit nicer, make more sense of it as we're going through the process.
Yeah.
So, but as long as everything is inventory and catalog, that's my big concern there.
Yeah.
So, now this is typically done outside. We did this one inside just because of the cold weather here lately. So this is an early 50s Packard engine. So sent in for a rebuild, built by another builder before us. So we're going through and basically fixing mistakes that we have found with this engine. And even though it doesn't look like much, you know, there's got to be a lot of time and money invested into this because it's important to them, and that's all that matters to us. If they're happy, we're happy. So, well,
and I think you were telling me with stuff like the Packard engines, these guys want them kind of period correct, and
that's exactly correct. So they don't want.
Takes a little more time.
They're not looking for power. They're looking for originality. They want to be able to pop the hood at the car show and have what should have been in there from the early 50s,
right?
And not put a LS in there, for example, which is the common go-to nowadays.
Yeah.
So.
That's neat.
But yeah, we found a lot of scary stuff in here. I've already talked to the customer. He kind of knows what's going on. So we'll continue with this process before it goes outside to get baked and still shot to remove all the old junk off of it.
Yeah.
So,
very good.
As a matter of fact, this engine originally on its cam came with basically a fiber gear on the end that was made out of the same material that a pressed fiberboard would be. So in the early 50s, that wasn't super common, but common enough, and this one actually had that on there, so it's more of a detriment. But so we'll be upgrading and replacing with steel after that.
Okay.
So blocks and heads both get milled in the same machine. So the setup is different for each one. The tooling is different for each one. But basically this makes sure that all your machine surfaces are true and you have a good mating surface for gaskets or an RTV being applied, whatever the case may be. So I mean, we go down to, a 1/10 of a thousandth if need be. It just depends on the application.
Yeah.
So this thing is more of a workhorse than anything else. So, but the accuracy is everything.
Right.
So we have things here like LS, aftermarket heads. This guy drag races his stuff, makes very serious power. We did a lot of heavy repairs of these cylinder heads, and we do that all in house. Had a lot of marks in it from previous damage. Kevin welds it up over here. Yeah. We mill it back down, so it's a nice clean surface, and this guy will be back on the track here in a couple weeks probably.
Yeah, this is looking good.
He's pulling big numbers. He's got about 100,000 wrapped up in his engine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at this point, so he's dead serious.
Yeah.
Dead serious about what he does.
Yeah, the Frankenstein heads, those are pretty nice.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yep, absolutely. And then we port match the intake to make sure we had good flow all the way through. We are also able to drill a hole and give additional oil drain back, because he was having problems with a flood nut basically and smoking.
Okay.
So problem for him. So we did drain backs on this and go straight to the oil pan. Over here is the block area. So they come in here and they'll get prepped. So we torque them up and we check everything out, make sure the mains are good, make sure there's no distortion in the block. After that, it'll go over to the hone so that we can hone it to whatever size you need. If it's too much material, we'll take it over to the boring bar on this side.
Okay.
So if we're going to be taking 30, 40, 60 thousandths out, we're going to remove the majority of that material over here first. Gives you a nice straight hole to start with, and then we'll move over to the diamond hone to where we can make a perfectly straight hole and give you the piston wall clearance that you're going to need for whatever application.
Do the finishing work on that side.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, again, more of a workhorse here. This is just basically a giant lathe. So we do our own custom drive shafts here, aluminum, steel. We're getting into carbon fiber. So it's going to be an application-specific thing on what you need. Are you drag racing? Are you mud bogging? Are you road racing? And then we build them accordingly. Or you just need a new one for your pickup truck.
Yeah.
Either way, we'll take care of you.
Nice.
So what Vinny is doing right now is miking crankshafts. They're high-end Cali's cranks.
Yeah.
So we're miking them all out to make sure they're in spec for our customer. After that, we notate everything, give them a printout so they know exactly what the crank is, so their builder can set up a lot faster and they know that everything is accurate. So he's taking measurements and writing everything down, and I turn that into a Word doc and give that to our customer.
Excellent.
We install all of the ARP hardware here first so we can check the mains, because a lot of times it changes measurements. Therefore, it has to go into different machines to make that right. So like this one shrank 1/1000th after installing ARP hardware. So it's going to spend probably a full day in that machine to get that straightened out because you have a steel cap, aluminum block.
Yeah.
So that's hard to do, but the machinist that does it is very good. These are all prepared blocks. This is kind of a nice showcase of what we do. So we have a 6.0 LS here. Probably going to be making somewhere around 650 to 700 horse, all engine.
Nice.
This is for a supercharged application, a 6.2 LT. He's going to be making about 800 horsepower after all said and done.
Very
now
cool.
this is a 1970s 400 Pontiac. This guy's going for the original look with power pack behind it. So, and it is going to be similar for a lot of these. Now this one here is a new, much newer version of the Hemi. So it's a 5.7 Hemi that we're going to stroke out and make it a 400 cubic inch. With the cylinder head combination and cam combination we have picked out for him, he should be in the neighborhood of 700 to the wheels. And then we go down here to small stuff like this.
Yeah, look at that guy.
So this is actually an Austin Healey, or what it came in a early 1950s Mini Cooper.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to be boring this out almost 120,000 over, which in the engine world is enormous.
Yeah.
So, but he did opt to get the good hardware and go ARP.
Yeah.
Just for the additional strength, because back in
That's
1950s, 86 horsepower was a lot.
Yeah. It's funny seeing that juxtaposed to
all
these
the
ones.
big,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
absolutely. But
That's
it just
neat.
goes to show me we're super diverse on what we get into
Yeah,
here.
just in these 6 engines there, yeah.
So like in this machine, we have a 502. It's already O-ringed. And O-ring is predominantly going to be for big horsepower applications. Somebody that's going to have nitrous or big turbos, and those O-rings provide an extra sealing surface for you.
Right.
So now he is roughing this one in still, so we're not even close to done.
Yeah.
But just want to flip it over so you can see the O-rings on this side.
Yeah.
But then we also help out folks like Harry homeowners. So this is just out of a normal old Honda Civic. It's a B16, but we're rebuilding it for the guy just so he has, you know, a good dependable car to drive every day, a lot of miles on it.
Right.
And cheaper than buying a new car. So we help folks out like this as well.
Yeah.
Now down here is going to be more of stuff that is getting ready to be done. So we have two JZs right now, pretty popular. We have one gentleman that's going to be building about 1,300 horsepower, and the other gentleman is going to be shooting for about 500 horsepower. Okay. So massively different on components.
I'm guessing they're doing different applications, right? Like,
very much so.
Is the high horsepower one a drag race?
Well, he's going to be what I call a hot street. So he's going to see the strip sometimes, but it's going to be a streetable car as well. A lot of that's going to be according to the tune that he has done. So, but he will be able to street that.
Yeah.
This is just an old school 350. The guy's going to be hitting it with 100 shot of spray. So nothing too crazy there.
Yeah.
Pretty average stuff.
Nice.
Our crank area. And now this is going to be running the gamut here. Olds 350s. You know, we got 4 cylinders. We got the 6-cylinder 2JZ crank. You know, the Pontiac 455s. These are hard to come by. These cranks alone for the 2JZ, very hard to find. So we try to take care of them best we can before they leave the door, but these have yet to go to the polisher like this is. So this is a Ford Coyote crank.
Okay.
So what we do is we take our micro polish, we make sure there's no high spots on it, get it polished up and ready for bearings. After we're done, we take it outside, clean out all your oil galleys, make sure that it's ready to be installed, no metal hiding, waiting for you on startup. After that, we bag it. That way, when you take it out of the bag, you're ready to install. You don't need to think about it anymore.
Yeah,
so we take out the guesswork or worrisome issues that a machine shop can give you if you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
So this is actually a super critical part of what we do. Some people want to skip it, and not the best idea.
Right. for sure.
Yeah, you do what the customer asks for at the end of the day with warnings
right. Right. You can only give them so many.
That's right.
So many hints.
So our CNC machine here, Kevin writes his own programs. We've done it for Duramaxes, big block Chevys, big block Ford.
Yeah.
So what he'll do is actually come down here and he will hand port several chambers. He'll digitize it, and then the computer knows where to start taking material out of the fresh heads.
Yeah.
So that's what he's doing right now. So he just got done writing a program and adjusting it. And he comes back downstairs and he runs the program. And once he's done, what we'll do is flow the head to make sure we're getting the numbers that we're expecting out of it at certain varying lifts.
Yeah. I'm sorry, did you say what type of head he's working on right now?
Right now he's working on a big block Chevy head for a customer that we have in-house right now.
Very good.
So, I mean, it is weeks and weeks of work to get it to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
But this separates us from Edelbrock and the other guys that have very nice heads. But this sets us apart because we do our own design, our own ports to create as much velocity as possible in the right areas. Doing it can walk you backwards if done incorrectly.
Yeah, very good. Very
good.
How long have you guys had the Centroid for?
3 years now.
Okay.
Yep. So, but you figure, you know, what that can produce, you know, something like this, for example, is produced out of that machine, you know, a set of these is going to be around $17,000.
Wow.
So it's a big investment, but it's to produce custom parts that you cannot go out and buy.
Right.
Perry homeowner can't go buy this head. We make them here in-house, so it's our proprietary design, and which is why we had to our name into the end of it.
Yeah, no, I like that. Nice touch.
So these are all shop blocks ready to be built. We got a big Ford Performance block here. So we're actually going to be thinking about this for also a shop build, either drag car or bog truck.
Okay.
But this is going to make a lot of power once you get the right combination of parts in there. It's like a big puzzle.
Yeah.
That needs to equate to horsepower.
Right.
So, and then once we are done going through the excruciating process of building, of doing all the machine work, all the labor of love that we do here, the payoff for us, believe it or not, is getting to come to the dyno room, getting to test it out, getting to see what we built, getting to see the results and pumping out the numbers.
Yeah.
So we have, you know, the outdoor console here. The room is sound deadened on for obvious reasons. It's extremely loud. Thick walls just in case anything would ever happen. So typically you'll have a man running the console and somebody like myself or one of the other guys in here helping tune and set up.
Yeah.
But we run a twin starter setup, so whether it be high compression methanol or low compression, it doesn't matter to this machine. It just cranks her over. So after the break-in process and the warm-up procedure, we'll give her at least 5 to 6 good pulls to make sure that there's no parts failures and we're reaching the horsepower and torque goals that the customer wanted to begin with. Now, we cannot always reach the goals. Sometimes we call them magic numbers. 1,000 horsepower sounds great, but that doesn't mean every engine's capable of producing that power.
Yeah.
So, but we find the truth teller is right here. So we always get to find out at the end of it. So whenever there's a dyno day, pretty much all the guys will rally around this and kind of get to see the the benefits of our labor.
And now with being where you guys are located with a couple other businesses around, do you guys have to run this at specific times, or is it quiet enough that?
Yes, we have the sound deadened enough now where we're not bothering neighbors.
Yeah.
So once it's fired up, you know, people over in the Ace Hardware and Napa, they can hear what we're doing over here. But other than that, once you're outside, you know there's something running, but it's not overbearing by any means.
No one's complaining about it.
Exactly. Yeah, nobody's knocking on the door. And not too many guys would in an angry way anyhow. They just want to see what's going on in that room.
Sounds pretty badass. What's going on?
Right, exactly. So we don't very often let customers come in for the dyno process, mainly because it's just a liability thing. We've had a few customers do it, but we do it very sparingly.
Yeah.
So, but we have, you know, clutch and flywheel setups for almost every application you can imagine right here. So there's not too much we don't have. What might look like a mess to you is a wealth of good parts when you're trying to link up a AMC or a Pontiac or Chevy or Ford, all different stuff. So we keep everything readily available to us.
Nice.
So, and then we do plenty of lathe work, depends on the machining that needs done to the machine, or maybe it's just another kind of part. BJ over here right now, he's pretty much one of the best important polishers in Panhandle. So he's working on a 2JZ head right now. They're already great the way they come, but he's improving on what Toyota designed years ago. Right. So after he's done there, he'll put in the bronze valve guides, upgraded valves, and this is the guy that's going to be making around 1,300 horsepower with a boosted application.
Corey, I don't know if you know this off the top of your head or not, but since he's working on 2JZ, is there anything specific that you guys will do to the port? Like, is there a weak spot there that you guys are always looking to improve?
Well, let's ask the man.
All right.
Hey, BJ.
What's up, Doc?
Kill that for a second.
Kill that for a second.
He had a great question. I'm going to let you take over for a few minutes. He was asking basically, when you're porting, what were the weak spots on this head by design, and what are you improving now for flow for the boost?
Yeah, is there like a certain area of the port that you're always having to work on?
On 4-valve stuff with a single port that splits into two smaller ports to feed each valve. The divider in between the two is made as robust and easy to manufacture as Toyota can, or whoever's making that one.
Yeah.
They design them for ease of manufacturing and as much longevity as they possibly can. And we kind of reroute some of those compromises back to knife edging, especially the leading edge of that, bringing it up into where the injector comes into it. That helps direct the fuel flow as well. And throat sizing and valve job is going to be a big part of that as well.
Right.
This particular one is getting a 1mm over intake and exhaust, so that we're going to come back and retrim everything on the valve job side, handwork wise.
Right.
Once the valve job is done on the Rutler over there.
Very good.
But just consistent size, making sure there's no drastic changes in cross-sectional area in any particular place, regardless of where it is. That and kind of having a continual taper down and trying to initiate velocity with gradually reducing cross-sectional area.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then Corey pointed out that you guys got two JZs kind of coming together.
Yes.
And obviously they're very different. One's pretty high horsepower.
Correct.
One's still putting out a healthy 500. But will you do anything different on the heads in those two cases?
A good bit different.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, the cylinder head for the 500-ish horsepower one is already done. It's been done for weeks, only because I basically had to refresh it. You do a stock rebuild. It's a very good head from the factory.
Yeah.
And so it does not need, because this guy is obviously we're having to do more so that it will make more power.
Right.
Even though he's willing to throw whatever level boost at it takes. So we're making this one more efficient. The 500 horsepower one will basically trip and fall on that with no real work. I mean, I basically did a real standard 3-angle valve job with a 45, put a fresh surface on it, put fresh seals on it, and sent it on its way.
Yeah.
Stock cams, stock springs, all that good stuff. This one has to, because of the ridiculous numbers that he's asking for, everything. All stainless valves, all bronze guides. We had briefly talked about doing a better valve seat.
Okay.
But I think with the combination of stuff we have, we're kind of in the gray area of, I'm pretty sure it'll do fine for his purposes, as probably as little, if this was running races consistently, that'd be a different story, but this is going to be a, show-off street car.
Yeah. He said it might see some track time, but
It'll
streetable.
He'll go to the track and he'll show off for his buddies, and so we do need, the bronze guides and the good valves and all that stuff.
Very cool.
But it's crazy how much longer I'm having to spend in this, with all of the various things and with the price tag differences.
Yeah.
To make around triple the horsepower.
Yeah.
Which is kind of to be expected.
Right.
But a lot of people don't understand that the 2JZ can make 2,000 horsepower. Well, yes, but after
doing a bunch of things,
he's probably going to have, I don't even know what all the parts costed him, but it was going to be about $1,500 in labor alone on the cylinder.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I didn't mean to interrupt you here, but I appreciate the info.
That's A-okay. That's what we're here for.
All right. Well, thank you.
Not a problem.
All right. So on this end of the shop, we're actually headed more towards the tear down and clean up area. What we're closest to at the moment is just a simple soda blasting machine and bead blasting machine. They each have their own application. This is critical though for anything that has overhead cams in it. So if you want it to look nice, brand new, it's going to have to see this at some point. It's a service that we offer to customers, mainly for aesthetics. It doesn't do a lot for performance, but everybody likes their stuff to look nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as we walk out here, this is very much just the brass tacks of what we get into as an engine comes in. So, for example, this is an engine not too commonly seen in general. So this is out of a early 60s Buick. It's a 215 cubic inch aluminum motor from the 60s.
Wow.
So obviously not real common, hard to find. He did find a donor block, but this is the one that we'll be working with. So this is just going to be a refresh, rebuild. Let's get it back in the car, make it look original. But when it comes in like this, so what we typically will do, and this is not done yet, we'll tear out all these small bits, petcock valve, freeze plugs, things of that nature. Do any hand cleaning of gasket material while it's here, because what we don't want to do is introduce that to our hot tank.
Right.
So our hot tank is a dual tank for cast iron or aluminum. So this is just a very standard set of LS heads. But after several trips through, you can see how clean it is compared to, I'm sure, how it came off the vehicle originally.
Right.
Even though this is very much a hammer compared to the tools we have inside, it's a very necessary tool. So we use this constantly. Oven, so this is how we get the carbon out of the tight spots. So we'll actually heat this up to about 900 degrees for cast iron. Let that carbon cook off till it's nice and crispy. Aluminum, we do about 400 degrees if needed. Typically that's done for putting in sleeves and aluminum blocks.
Okay.
So over here is our still shot machine. Now we only use stainless steel shot. It doesn't rust inside the machine itself. It's easier to clean out once we get to the point of taking it back out. But it takes a old, grungy looking block, which we'll see here in a second, and makes it look like it just left the factory, even though it's already 60 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool seeing that transformation.
Oh, absolutely. So, you know, this is tear down parts from a 454 boat motor. This gentleman has twin engines on his boat. So we're rebuilding them. But the big thing with these is they have to match each other perfectly.
Yeah.
So you can only be 10 to 15 horsepower difference before the boat wants to turn you one way or the other. So this is one engine. We'll see the sister engine here in several months once this one's completed. A lot of these components will be replaced with new and or modern parts. This kind of simple stuff here is honestly just kind of a testament to we still give back to the community as far as we don't really do this. We're not a standard mechanic shop. But this gentleman just had a problem with his engine, high mileage, helping out a family member. Yeah. So we tore it down, diagnosed it, kind of let the gentleman know what was going on with it and kind of lead him in the right direction of either repair or replace. In his case, unfortunately, it's going to be replaced because the cost is going to be so high. It doesn't make any sense to have it done here. And we try to be honest with our customers and let them know, hey, it's going to be cheaper for you to get a reman engine than it is to have a machine shop build it because it's just more expensive that way.
Just too much time into it.
It's very accurate, but you will pay for the accuracy. So as blocks come in, you know, a lot of times they look like this.
Yep.
And by the time they're done and they go through the cleaners and the bake and then the still shot, they'll come back on the other and look at cast iron like we saw over by the home. So that should be the final result of them. Now we do a lot of fabricating, so there's a lot of plate steel sitting around. We paint all of our own engines as well. We don't rattle can anything.
Yeah, you got the paint station.
Yeah, so we have a paint booth. Yeah. Again, this will be part of the addition as we spread out that way. We're going to have a little bit more area. We're going to close this in a little bit nicer, but our two-part epoxy that we lay onto the engines holds up to your brake clean, carb cleaner, stuff like that. That way it's not running down the side of your engine because it just looks terrible at that point. And we have a lot of marine applications come through, so we got to keep that in mind for obviously salt, things of that nature. We have vibratory for some small parts that are rusty that you can't replace, so you just clean them up instead. We use it a good bit of the time. And now here's a good example of just came in the door. So this is a Buick 455.
Okay.
So the guy does want it to look original, but the idea is get a lot of power out of it in his price range. So that's what we're going to do for him. Yeah, he's probably going to be looking at, you know, over $10,000 for this build, but when we're done, besides the sound and performance, when you open the hood, it's going to look original. And that's what we want for the customer, and that's what he wants. So we actually just got this one in about a week ago, so it'll go through the teardown process, inspection, magnafluxing, and then it'll make its way inside to go to the block area. And cylinder heads will probably end up ordering from a company if we can't CNC port set here for him. Yeah. So it's all going to be a cost-effective thing.
Very cool.
So.
Now, Cory, you briefly mentioned that you guys got future plans to kind of enclose this space, but then you got some new foundation laid that you're going to be expanding beyond this area.
Yeah, the idea is going to be is that this has been an open area like this for years and years.
Yeah.
Obviously here in Florida with the humidity and heat that we face, it's about every condition you can imagine that is bad for metal.
Yeah.
So we're going to extend it out to the end of the pad. We're going to close everything in, insulate it, and make it climate controlled. That way everything that's in here will stay in better condition, and we're going to be able to expand the business that way as well.
Yeah.
At that point we can move some more machines out here. We can make the plasma table more functional and make some more sense for us, and then at that point we're actually going to be able to add additional staff to help get projects out a little bit faster and to be able to take in more projects.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting them from all over the place, so we just want to be able to handle the capacity as it's ramping up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it looks like it would effectively like double your shop space.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
quite literally.
that's awesome.
So getting more machinery will probably be in the works. We're going to take it one step at a time, but as of right now, yes, the expansion is
Very
happening pretty much faster than we
Yeah.
anticipated.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, we're really excited to get this all closed in, sealed up, and then that way we'll be able to use this bay door and we can better separate our cleaning from our assembly. Once we go into assembly mode, everything gets, you know, basically sterilized, everything moved out of the way. Don't go in my area, we're building an engine, kind of a situation.
Right.
This addition is going to allow us to do that a lot more effectively.
Yeah. Very
So
cool.
This is something that needed to happen, so this is step one, and we have all the building material further in the back, so all we got to do is get the building up, get her insulated, and then we'll be able to...
Yeah, Kevin was saying it should just be 4 months or so, you know, if everything goes according to plans.
Yep, it's going to be a lot of work between the guys that are doing the machine work and myself, and trying to tackle it all at once and keep up with the timelines that we promise the customers that we're going to be able to get stuff done in. So we try to be reasonable, make sure they understand that machining is not a speedily thing on purpose.
Right.
You know, it's all about accuracy.
Right.
So if it takes 6 months, it takes 6 months, but we'd rather produce a good product once than do it in 2 weeks and have it come back as a negative.
Absolutely. Very good.
So.
Well, it's cool to see you around.
Yeah, I do not mind. Say a lot of the customers were accustomed to coming into this area for drop-off, but actually like it better being up front there. It's more personable. You're inside.
Right, yeah.
You can get away from all the junk. And as you can see, the guys are hard at it. They know what we're doing, but you know they got to keep up with customer timelines and what we're looking to accomplish here. So I do apologize for the background noise, but you know what he's doing is a very critical part of that build. If it wasn't for things like that, that gentleman would never be able to accomplish his horsepower goals, torque goals.
Well, hey, we like showing the shop in its natural habitat, so to speak. You know, things are happening.
You caught us on a good day.
That's right. Well, Cory, I really appreciate it. Appreciate the time.
Absolutely.
It was awesome to see what you guys are doing here with your team. And
we appreciate it.
Yeah. Guys, for you at home, if you guys got questions about anything that you saw on the tour or just anything about what Kevin's Machine and Engineering is doing here, make sure to drop that stuff down in the comments. Also, make sure you're following along with what Cory and Kevin and their whole team is doing here. And as always, make sure you're checking out EngineBuilderMag.com for more great engine content. We appreciate you all watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.